Well, good morning, everyone. We are actually recording early with Thanksgiving holiday coming, so here we are. Week 11 is over. Playoff runs are beginning. Jed, Jimmy over in Illinois as well as Phoenix. Good morning.
Good morning.
And then trade line deadlines
Trade
for a lot
deadline.
of teams are passed, and so no more deals except on the waiver wire.
You know, I got to realize we got to extend that trade deadline. I would like a
Yes.
later trade deadline. I keep forgetting every single year.
Yeah.
Because you're sitting there week one. I think this is the right one. What did I think about last year? So we have to remember we got to extend the trade deadline a little bit.
Well, and I don't like our limited number of moves that we have in our league. We have a cap of 50 moves. I don't like that. We need to make that bigger because we always come close to it towards the end. Somebody got messed up. Wasn't it you, Tommy, last year that you ran out of moves and then you couldn't pick up like a quarterback or something?
All right, we have to remember these things because at the beginning of the following year, when I sit there and look, I said, "Oh man, what was it that we need to change?"
Jed, the other thing I've been thinking about proposing is to limit our in our dynasty league, limit it to 4 players we get to keep versus 5 players.
Yeah,
because
I think that's good.
4 might be good.
Yeah, I think that's good because the draft right now is there's not enough players in the draft, so I think that's probably a good move.
Yeah. I told you about my other league, right? All we do is draft rookies every year, and it's so hard.
Yeah, that's tough.
Well, I'm going to start off our conversation today talking about someone that we usually never talk about, a kicker. We had one kicker who scored the most fantasy, second most fantasy point in fantasy history. Do you guys know who that was?
Tyler Bass.
No, Brett.
No.
Brett
Mayer with the 60 with the bonus points. Yeah.
Yes.
It was between Tyler Bass. I was gonna say those two, Tyler Bass and Brett Mayer, were the two like kickers. They probably outscored. I was trying to look up this morning and it looks like they were basically both like top 20. Yeah. But if you had those guys, you probably won your league.
No.
Brett Mayer scored 29 points. Do you know the highest kicker, the highest points that a kicker ever scored, who it was?
32 points.
Denver kicker. What's his name?
Jay Feely with 29.5.
Oh, out of Miami.
The Miami guy. Yeah, I remember I met him one time here in Arizona at an event, Jay Feely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was he cool? Was he a nice guy?
Yeah, he was nice. Yeah.
I figure some kickers are jerks, right? Because they have this like issue with not being seen as football players. And then I think other guys have got to be really nice because they know what a great job they have.
Yeah. But seriously, a lot of times you could have won 29 points with the kicker. It's crazy.
Oh, I definitely did. In one league, basically Tyler Bass and Tony Pollard, that combination. I had a bunch of single-digit scores across everything else, but those two guys won it for me. And actually, I was reading, I think this was the lowest, up until tonight, this was the lowest point-wise weekend for fantasy that we've had all year. So it was like a lot of low scoring.
But seriously, a lot of people did not. I mean, look at Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. Jefferson had what, like less than 5 fantasy points.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins had like 1.8. You know, like
I played him over Kyler Murray because I was worried about Kyler Murray tonight.
Oh, but McCoy is supposed to start tonight.
Oh, so that was good.
Yeah, McCoy. But you only got 2 points.
Yeah, exactly.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. And I could have played Colt McCoy. That's what I was thinking is my other option was to pick up Colt McCoy and then just whoever was starting tonight play him. But anyway.
With this said, Tony Pollard, a lot of times, look, Ezekiel Elliott got 2 touchdowns, but Tony Pollard, wow, they need to just be starting him the entire time.
Yeah, over 100 yards receiving, 2 receiving touchdowns. I mean, basically, we've been saying all year, play them both, right? And now I think it's play them both, but Tony Pollard is 1A and Ezekiel Elliott is 1B, right? Like you just expect more out of Pollard. So
yeah, and it does open up the passing. Look at how Dak Prescott did okay. CD Lamb didn't do unbelievable, but he did serviceable as a flex player.
Dallas, that was a really impressive game, actually. You know, Minnesota coming in 8-1, everyone expecting them to play well. But the Dallas defense, if you guys watch the game, I mean, Kirk Cousins he had no time to pass.
You know what I was thinking about? Like, there is no good teams in the division that the Bears are in, right? Detroit's not doing well. Green Bay's not doing well. The Bears, I mean, we don't know what's going on with Justin Fields. You still have Minnesota, hopefully, at the top of it, right, going into the playoffs. But they showed that they're not that strong against against a good defense like Dallas.
Well, there's not truly a dominant team this year, right? Philadelphia really eked out a win. They should have lost 2 in a row. Minnesota lost. And then Kansas City and Buffalo. Buffalo's got the injuries. I mean, Kansas City, you could maybe argue, has been the strongest looking so far, but even they have some losses. So there has not been a single dominant team this year. It's going to be a fun playoff.
Yeah. With that said, with the Bears, Justin Fields got hurt with the shoulder on the first play in the fourth quarter, but at the same time, he still scored 20-something points. It probably is the worst game that he's had in the last month. David Montgomery, starting with no Khalil Herbert, got 19 points.
Yeah, you knew that if they weren't splitting carries, he'd get it. But I was really mad at the coaches in the fourth quarter, knowing that Fields was hurt, how many runs they called. I was like, why are they doing that to the poor guy? And then did you guys hear that he got carted off? He actually left in a car. Yeah, so I was like, that's terrible.
So they said a shoulder. They're going to come out with more, but they said it was a shoulder injury. But you're right. You can tell something was off because he had some really easy throws that he was missing in the fourth quarter, and they could have come back and won that game, but something was off. Even the announcers were saying that something was off with them.
Hey, look, selfishly, I need Justin Fields to start this week because I Bears-Packers game on sale this week, and so a lot of times I need to sell it for like $200 a ticket.
It's in Chicago.
Yeah, in Chicago.
Oh, you'll be able to sell that. That's a good game.
Is it cold in Chicago right now?
Yeah.
Today's actually not that. I came out to the office. It's actually not as bad as yesterday.
Oh, this past week was like it was like January weather. It was like in the 20s. It was so cold. That's why we'll see. Hopefully it gets a little better, but it's been bad.
Speaking over to the Sunday night game, Isaiah Pacheco. All right, I'm not sure if he's your top waiver wire pick.
Already got him.
Guys, 15 carries, 107 yards. He did pretty well. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is non-existent anymore. Jared McKinnon is non-existent. Pacheco is here to stay.
Jimmy, you were on this. I mean, I wasn't the guy on it. You were on it, but I picked him up.
It took him a while because I always said that Pacheco had this Priest Holmes type look to him, and it took him a while, but yesterday he was like with the first 100-yard rusher that they've had in a long time. And so I think they're slowly integrating him into the system.
Now, if he was sitting on waivers and you had a budget, will you use your entire remaining budget on him?
Oh, that's a tough call. I mean, I guess if you have to win this week, I would say yes. If you're playing for the playoffs, I might not do that because, I mean, it was a great game. And as Jimmy said, they're trying to work them in, but I just feel like Kansas City is still at the heart of it. They're a passing team. And so you just don't know how much you're going to really get out of it.
Well, I think if you have a dynasty league, right, you would really consider, because you're out of the playoffs, I would do it. Partly it is because you're playing for future seasons.
Yeah.
But I think with Pacheco, you're right. There's a couple of other, like, okay, for instance, I have Justin Fields as my starting quarterback. If you're going in with a Fields as the starter for the playoffs, you want to make sure you've got a good backup and some money left for him, just in case something ever happens to Fields or they shut certain players down as well too.
In Dynasty, is Pacheco at the same level as a Kenneth Walker, where you're sitting there, oh my gosh, he's another opportunity to get a Kenneth Walker. Let me use up my entire funding for this.
I don't think he is because Seattle, really relies on the rushing game. Yeah, that's why like Kenny Walker was such a great pickup. I still wouldn't put. I mean, and hey, if you guys noticed, Dameon Pierce in Houston, he's had a couple bad weeks. So that's one
he's
guy.
Had some struggles.
Yeah, that's one guy I've been thinking that going into the playoffs, I think I got to start benching him because he has not performed.
Yeah. So Tom, I made a mistake this past week, and I kicked myself because in the waiver wire, you picked up the running back from Tampa Bay, and so I had it set to pick up Christian Watson after you. So I Sanborn and then Watson, but then I picked up a safety instead, and I forgot to switch the rankings. And I woke up and I was like, how the heck did I not get Christian Watson? And I was like, oh, that's why. And then you picked up the running back from Tampa Bay and Watson as well too.
Yes, I have both of them. I was wondering why.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally have both of them.
Yeah, that's why. It's because I was ready to pick up Watson. So because I was waiting for Watson and then Tony as well too, because I figured one of them is going to click. And a lot of them says that Watson, if he continues at his pace, is one of those good guys to have going into the playoffs as well too.
Oh yeah, he looks great. I mean, the fact that he followed it up with 2 touchdowns. I mean, Jimmy and I talked about it last time when you weren't on, Tommy, is that basically what it looks like, because they were still spreading the ball around, but it looks like when Rodgers wants to score, that's when he goes to Watson. So it's a really good pickup.
Yeah, actually, okay, one other pickup that everyone keeps talking about. I don't know what you guys think. Traylon Burks from to Titans. They said that he's another person that you might want to keep an eye on.
Yeah, no, that's not a bad move at all. But I also, back to the Watson one is with Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people dropped Aaron Rodgers. He had a pretty good game too. So if you're looking for a quarterback, you might catch a little bit of lightning right now.
Yeah.
So here's my dilemma that I would love to pick, since we only have one game this week, right? So suddenly I now have DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, but then at the same time, Chris Godwin, Christian Kirk, Rashad White, and Jamar Chase sitting on the IR. So who do I start?
See, this is Jed. This is a typical my brother strategy where he loads it up on the IR, and then right as they come back on the and do you have Deshaun Watson on that league or no?
I have Deshaun Watson, Christian Watson sitting there.
Man. Yeah. So he'll just come in and roll through the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a solid team, man. I mean, those guys can hit. Yeah.
I mean, I traded him Jamar Chase because I was like, I need a couple. I traded him for Amon-Ra St. Brown and Chris Olave, which they did pretty well, but he's got a dominant lineup with those guys.
I love Jamar Chase coming back. Actually, I think Chase is gonna. He already came off crutches this past week, and supposedly that was just an extra precaution. So he's definitely gonna be. So I would play Chase.
Tom, I think you have to. I think you have to play DeAndre Hopkins and Jamar Chase for sure. Like those are the two for sure you have to play.
Now, if you had a chance between Godwin, Kirk, Allen, and Watson, who would you do? You had to pick one.
I think I'd pick Watson out of that group.
Deshaun?
No, not Deshaun Watson. No,
Christian Watson. Yeah, you know what? I would too. I would ride the Christian Watson wave for a little bit. Yeah, because I think he's hot right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not Allen. Well, yeah, Keenan Allen had a nice game though. He looked. I don't know if you guys saw that catch he had on.
Yeah, I did.
Downplay, man, he looked good.
Mike Williams out yet again, where he rehurt his sprained ankle.
Yeah, that I was so mad. Got that. I basically got 2 points in the so.
Remind me who's your quarterback again? Is it Justin?
No, Joe Burrow.
Burrow looked good. He had a good game.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, Kadarius Toney is out. Travis Kelce got 3 touchdowns, but Kadarius Toney is, every single time he comes back, he gets hurt right again.
No, and I was thinking, right, because Juju Smith-Schuster was out. Miko Hardman was placed on the IR. And so he had a chance to be the number 1 receiver. And that's why I picked him up. And I was like, okay, he's going to run. But hamstring injury, first quarter, he's out.
Yeah. Mike Williams is out as well, too. Jamal Williams look, I've been starting him in my lineup every single week. He gets 1 yard, but he gets a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, no, that was I missed that completely last week. We talked about DeAndre Swift. He had 3 touchdowns, right?
Yep, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's insane. So, I mean, it's good for Detroit, though. Detroit, I felt like had been a little bit dead in the water, so it's good to see them come back.
Yeah,
another one. We were talking about when Nyheim Hines got traded. We're sitting there. Is
Buffalo negative points?
Nyheim Hines.
Yeah.
James Cook, 11 carries, 86 yards.
I was thinking that this week, because they were playing in the Dome Stadium, that it would be something for a Nyheim Hines, right? Like, because I was like, okay, maybe in the cold he's not going to be good, but this week I think he should do pretty well. But negative points this week. I mean, I think it's time to just dump him. Because here's my thing. I don't even know why Buffalo ended up trading for him unless they needed some weapons and backups for the playoffs. But they're not utilizing him right now.
Yeah. Jed, P. Ryan, what do you call it? Joe Mixon goes out with an injury.
Samaje.
Samaje Ryan.
Yeah.
Carries the ball 11 times, 30 yards, 4 catches, 52 yards, 3 touchdowns, 37-30 win over the Steelers.
Yeah.
No, and he looked really good. So you guys know I like him. He's a former Oklahoma guy. So, I mean, I was thinking he's probably going to be your number 1 waiver wire pickup, assuming Watson was already gone. Because, I mean, that was a really nice performance. But I didn't hear any follow-ups.
I think Mixon just got a concussion, right?
Oh,
I
it
think
was.
that was the issue. Yeah. So you never know about these concussions. He might come back. My guess is they might hold him out 1 week before he comes back.
Yeah, but there's a good chance. Let's say if he does, it's waiver wire. You don't know. P. Ryan's sitting there. Are you using a good chunk of your waiver wire? Or are you going to put $20, $30 on P. Ryan for probably one game?
No. I
No,
mean,
yeah.
not that much.
Yeah.
I mean, again, Cincinnati's similar. They're just a big passing team, so
Yeah,
it just happened that he picked those up.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like this past week, I was trying to trade Joe Mixon because what I found is usually after big games for Mixon, he usually kind of falls down the plateau for a few more games. And so, but I had no takers because I was trying to be greedy. I was trying to get a lot of things get back from Mixon. Yeah.
Jim, George Pickens finds the end zone versus the Bengals. 4 or 6 targets, 83 yards, a touchdown. Probably his best game that he's had.
No. Pickens did well. Frymuth did well. Even Najee Harris did well. The only person I would say out of that group is Deontay Johnson because he was overshadowed by George Pickens.
Yeah, which, by the way, Deontay Johnson finishes with just 21 yards on 5 targets. But either way, he's been terrible the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think part of it is with the rookie quarterback, right? But I also think that, George Pickens has really kind of elevated himself since Claypool left. So, yeah. But I actually, like, he would not be somebody I would want to keep in a Dynasty League.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Someone keeps calling me over here. Give me 1 minute.
Yeah. But who's a Najee Harris? I could have beat my brother on the Dynasty League if I played Najee Harris, but I played Kadarius Toney instead of Najee Harris. So that was my bad.
I'm surprised. At the end of the day, you just played a running back every single time.
Yeah. Exactly.
But not. See, here's my. Yeah, I guess so, right? Because Najee Harris has only been averaging like 12 points, right? And so I was really banking on the fact that Kadarius Toney is going to have one of those games where it's like 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, because it was going to be a shootout with the Chargers. So I was thinking that bet, but I think I gambled and lost.
Yeah, Jed, I was really, really hoping for another Colts win against the Eagles and for Jeff Saturday to go 2-0.
Why? Why are you cheering for that guy?
I guess you know what? Everyone's against him. I said I want him to prove everyone wrong.
No, that's terrible. You're not proving him wrong. You're proving the owner right, and that owner is a jerk, man. Did you hear the Eagles coach came out and he was so basically after the game he was like, "I'm so glad I beat them because what's his face Frank Reich still deserves to be there and shouldn't be gone."
Yeah. Well, remember Frank Reich was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, and I'm sure he still has some good relationships on that team.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm in the boat of Saturday shouldn't be a coach. So I'm glad that he lost.
Which, by the way, let's actually go into the players. Jonathan Taylor seems to have righted the ship a little bit. 84 yards, 1 touchdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was good. Yeah.
Well, it's because they got Matt Ryan back. That's the whole thing. Is they're finally starting Matt Ryan. That's opened up, a little bit of the passing game. I mean, he's still not great, but he's at least serviceable. So then it lets.
Are you sure it's not because of Jeff Saturday?
No, I do not think it's because. Actually, I think that's for me. That's the reason that the owner let Matt. Remember, the owner had to pay an extra $17 million because they're letting Matt Ryan play, which he was not willing to do until he started Jeff Saturday. So I think in his mind, he's like, I'm going to do everything I can to help Jeff Saturday win, which includes paying an extra $17 million for Matt Ryan to start.
Yeah. Jim, number 1 pickup for me, Cam Akers, 14 carries, 61 yards.
No, I'm not. There's other people so much better than Cam Akers.
Right,
14 carries, 61 yards for Cam Akers.
But it looks like Stafford's going to be out at least the next week or so.
He was having a good game too.
Yeah, he was actually, and then he got hit hard.
Yeah.
And so the coach just came out and says, "Look, we're going to be cautious for him. My guess is, given everything that happened to Tua, they're going to give him another week off." But Allen Robinson did well. Tutu Atwell had that long.
Tutu Atwell, rookie sensation coming out of college. I wanted the Bears to draft Tutu Atwell. Yeah, but he got 19 points, but only on 1 reception as well, too.
Yeah.
All right, Jim, who's your number 1 waiver wire pickup this week?
You know what? I would say between it's for me it's between P Ryan, Pacheco, and then also Burks, right? So I think if Pacheco was out there, I would go for him first. Then I would go for Burks and then P Ryan. Those would be my three.
Judd.
Um, yeah, I guess P Ryan sounds good. I was just looking to see what is the kind of trends, like
Yeah.
who is
No, but here's the
anyone
thing. Yeah,
picking up.
the only reason with P Ryan is you might get him for 1 week, right? Let's just say that Mixon is
Yeah,
out for 1 week. You can get him. I think he does pretty well when he's a spot starter, but he's not taking over Mixon, right? And so for me, I'm like, look, whatever you pick up, you want him for that person for the playoffs. And P Ryan, if Mixon comes back, isn't going to do much.
yeah, I like
Cam
Pacheco.
Akers.
I think
No, Cam
Pacheco.
Akers isn't going to do much either. I mean,
I
there's
know.
too many
Yeah.
people out there, and especially if you got that one guy as the quarterback, he's not going to do. He's not going to be able.
You never know. I like Pacheco though. I think Pacheco has a chance to have
Yeah.
some a little bit more impact there. So I would say maybe Pacheco.
Pacheco definitely is my number one draft pick. I mean, look, if Akers is sitting out there after all the waivers, I will probably pick him up again a little bit and see how he does. Yeah, Tutu Atwell. Are you guys looking at Tutu Atwell?
No, I mean, I'm maybe if it was in a dynasty league just to see, but I don't think so. I mean, right now, if I'm out, to be honest, I might actually be looking at a Jameson Williams. Given how some of these rookies are doing, if he comes in and has a couple good games towards the end, that might be an interesting player to pick up. Odell Beckham Jr. Is supposed to make his decision after Thanksgiving, either between the Giants or the Cowboys. He might be a good person to put in
He
your,
is so going to the Cowboys. I think he's going to the Cowboys.
which will make them stronger.
Yeah,
Because
because
that
a
would
lot.
be interesting if he goes to the Cow. Actually, yeah, it makes sense because then their 3 wide receiver sets would be pretty strong. That actually could be pretty good. That could help CD
I
Lamb
mean,
too.
think about their team. They got Gallup, they got Odell Beckham. They've got. I mean, it's similar to how the Rams structured their Super Bowl team last year, right?
Yep.
They've got a good tight end. They've got 2 decent running backs and a quarterback, right? Literally, it's the same exact thing that the Rams did last year.
Yeah. Hey, let's go over real fast to the Thanksgiving game. Which ones are you guys most excited about? Are you excited about Bills, Lions, the early game, Giants, Cowboys, or Patriots, Vikings? What are you looking at in terms of the game that you're looking forward to this week?
Not the Patriots because they're always boring.
Yeah, I would say the Giants Cowboys. That could be a fun game.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're
They'll
playing
always
in the same division. I think the more entertaining game I would like to see Buffalo versus Detroit, just because I want to see if Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to do well, if Jamal Williams is going to continue scoring, and how Josh Allen's going to do.
Yeah. The only concern I have with that particular game, I have a feeling it might be a blowout here. Jared Goff cannot sit there and throw Josh Allen. So, and their defense is strong enough. They're going to stop Jamal Williams. So it may be a boring, lopsided game.
That also on the weekend, so not on Thanksgiving, but on the weekend, you've got Green Bay versus Philly, which I know sounds like you would think Philly is going to crush them, but Philly has just been shaky. Green Bay's been coming back a little bit. I expect it to be high scoring too. So I think there could be a lot of fantasy points in that game.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. My Bears Green Bay game is in 2 weeks because the Bears are playing the Jets.
Yeah.
It's another road game.
Yeah.
They're going to kill the Jets because Zach Wilson is terrible.
I don't know. The Jets defense is good, man. So I don't know that they're going to kill them. I wouldn't jump off.
I think once Brees Hall left, they weren't the same team anymore because everything was really structured around him, and he was so good both on the running and receiving. But now it's like, okay, who do you go after? Carter, Robinson, right? Like Garrett Wilson didn't do anything yesterday, and it's not like Zach Wilson can carry a team. He can manage the team, but he's not carrying the team.
Aren't you guys disappointed how bad James Robinson is, though?
Yeah, it's surprising. I mean, given how well he was doing in Jacksonville, so it is a little surprising. But yeah.
Judd, what were we saying before?
Oh, I was gonna say I wanted to shout out Donovan Peoples-Jones. I had
Oh.
called that pickup, and he had a good game, and he had
17 fantasy points. Yeah,
he had 61 yards and a touchdown. And Jimmy and I were talking about how I'm against picking up Deshaun Watson, but he's got to throw to someone. And Cooper had a really good game. I think Cooper had 2 touchdowns. But if you picked up Donovan Peoples-Jones, or if he's on your waiver, again, looking to the future with Deshaun Watson coming back, there's going to be throwing.
So I did take your advice. Jed. I actually picked him up in one of the leagues because I was like, oh, he's sitting there. I might as well use him. And great. I mean, he's got 17 points. He's on my bench, and I can use him.
It's a good pickup.
Now, Kareem Hunt in our league was sitting on the waivers. I picked him up. Man, didn't do anything. 5 carries, 32 yards.
I don't know why they have totally abandoned him. It's real. I mean, obviously Chubb is amazing, but still, I mean, Hunt last year was very valuable. He was kind of more like the Pollard Zeke Elliott combo, but this year they're just not using him at all.
Well, it's because I was reading this article, and they were saying that the coaches were not happy after he made that request for trade, and so they pretty much just said, "Look, we're done with you. We're going to just move on with Nick Chubb." I mean, I think they tried to trade him during the midseason, but they couldn't get any partners, and so literally, I think they just they're benching him.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know what? I mean, you can't tick off your coaches, and it's crazy how many players in the NFL, it's not a pure talent question, right? I think the Patriots are unique in that. The Patriots, literally, whoever's the best player, I feel like that's who gets to play. On all the other teams, I feel like there's some politics, there's some your salary, there's some personality driven. So it's not a perfect science. Because someone like that, Kareem Hunt, deserves to be playing somewhere.
Yeah. Hey, look, even in New England, a lot of times Ramondre Stevenson has gotten the bulk of the carries. Damien Harris did end up getting 10 carries. I mean, I don't think he'll steal that job away from Ramondre Stevenson. Now, I would like for them to replace the quarterback over New England as well, too.
Yeah, I was wondering with Ramondre Stevenson if you would keep him in a keeper league. I mean, it's tough, right? I feel like he's good potential, but do you hang on to him? I don't know.
No, I think if you had, I mean, I'm looking at just our league, right? If you had a 4-person dynasty league and you have to keep 4 players, Ramondre Stevenson is the player you're keeping. Only because you always got Damien Harris back there. And you're right. The one thing with Belichick is they always play the player that has the hot hand. And so he might have a great game, but tomorrow if Damien Harris has a good game, they're going to run with him for a few weeks.
Yeah.
All right.
What about Khalil Herbert? Would you guys keep him?
No, most likely not. I would keep a Tony Pollard, for sure.
Yeah,
but I don't think I would keep a Khalil Herbert.
Yeah,
even though I do think he's going to be the starter next year.
Yeah.
Going to our keeper of 4 teams, right? Let's go to my wife's team. You'll definitely keep Justin Fields. You'll keep Justin Jefferson. You'll keep Jamar Chase. Suddenly now, here's the 4 players that she has to keep. Gabe Davis, Kamara, or Stevenson. Who would you pick? Ramondre Stevenson.
So tell your wife I like Kamara in this year. I actually think Kamara is going to come back. I know he's been down. I think for the playoff run, he is a player she should consider playing. I think he's going to have a good playoff run. I've been trying to trade for him in some other leagues. But for long term, I think I would still go with Kamara out of that group.
Over Gabe Davis.
Too. Yeah, I would too, only because it's harder to get some of these good running backs early in the season during the drafts. So you might as well stash them away. You can pick up somebody similar to Gabe Davis in middle of the rounds. So I would too. I would keep Kamara
over Ramondre Stevenson because a lot of times he becomes a bell cow and Kamara is getting slower. Yeah, like yesterday, he got 10 points.
Yeah, he had a bad game yesterday. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, they have a bad offense, except Chris Olave did pretty well.
Yeah,
but they do have bad offense.
Have you been happy with the trade that you made, Jamar Chase for Olave as well as Brown?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy about it. I mean, watch Jamar Chase will come in and score 30, 40 points, and I'm going to be out of the playoffs. I mean, I just need to get myself into the playoffs. That's what I wanted to do.
Jed, I'm telling you, the strategy of picking up all these players sitting on and then just squeaking into the playoffs. I love that strategy.
If we go down to 4 keepers, I think I'm going to drop Kyler Murray. That's the guy I'm going to drop.
Yeah,
because I'm going to keep Henry, Cook, and Tyreek Hill, and then I think I might take a flyer on Jeff Wilson Jr. You know, if
I would let go of Kyler Murray. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, you may hate saying this. Don't you think Dalvin Cook is on his way down?
I mean, he is. He's definitely on his way down, but he's still super productive. I mean, to me, I'm going to always value running backs highly. And so, I mean, he's consistent. I can just throw him in there and not have to think about it. And so, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think he is on the downturn. He hasn't had like huge games. He had like one big game this year. But still, I would keep him.
Yeah. All right. Let me just talk with you about a variety of different topics since we're on the 29 mark here. Is NBA basketball. Jim, Kawhi Leonard is coming back. How's he been doing on your team?
Yeah, he's okay. You know, like he's always, I mean, they're going to load management him. And so the reason I even kept him is just because I picked him up so late in the round, and he's a pretty decent player. The person who's actually been doing surprisingly pretty good for me is Anthony Davis. He's had 3 straight games where he had like 30 points and like 15 rebounds. But he's been pretty good.
Yeah. Jed, how's your team doing this week?
Dude, I don't know what happened this weekend. I had 7 people out or on IR on my team.
Yeah.
I was like, I still managed to win, but I had so many injuries. So Jaren Jackson, Nick Claxton, Pascal Siakam, Paolo Banchero, Cam Johnson, LaMelo Ball, all not playing. So I was like, how am I supposed to win?
No, I actually have a lot of the same players, Jed, in another league. I got Banchero, I've got Ball. They're all out. They haven't been doing it. They've been sitting on my bench or IR for a while.
And then yesterday,
somehow I'm trying to keep up with Tommy. You're Tommy. You're like gonna run away with the league.
Yeah.
I've been very happy with my team. Did you guys watch the Golden State Houston game last night?
Mm-mm.
Last night, Klay Thompson. 41 points. Steph Curry's 9 threes. It was crazy.
Hey, good for him. He's had a tough year, man. That's good for him to start to turn things around.
And they've been being criticized. Have you read all these articles about how, you know, this might be the last year for these guys? They're going downhill. Everybody except Steph is actually the only person doing something.
Yeah, because it really comes down is they're younger players who they took a chance on. They allowed Gary Payton Jr. to walk. They allowed Otto Porter to walk. All their defensive guys, Andre Iguodala is not playing. So they're depending on Moses Moody, Kuminga, Wiseman. That has not turned out. Jordan Poole has been an absolute disaster since he signed that contract. So then do you trade all those assets for a Kevin Durant and make one last run with them?
Well, in Jordan Poole's defense, one of the big switches this year is teams now are putting their number 1 defender on Jordan Poole. So they're basically saying, okay, we're going to let Steph get whatever he's going to get. We're going to shut down Poole and let everyone else see what happens with everyone else.
And it's not like Draymond's doing anything these days.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think in his defense, I think he's just facing a lot tougher defense this year. Now, the interesting thing, my oldest son yesterday, he came in and he said, I think the Sacramento Kings are the best team in California. And I was like, man, he might be right. So.
Keegan Murray, they've got De'Aaron Fox.
Evan Herter has done so well for me on my team.
Yep, exactly. I mean, it's crazy to think both the Lakers, the Clippers, the Golden State Warriors, all 3. I mean, I think they're all below 500.
Yeah. So,
another one, Dwight Howard.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Hear about him?
Taiwan, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, almost had a triple double, had a huge game. So I started following him on Instagram just because of that, because they have him like going out to the night markets and like, you know, visiting stuff. So it's a pretty good. You should check in on him, but I'm definitely going to follow that.
38 points, 25 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 blocks.
I'm sure he's so much bigger than the rest of the people there, though, right? Like playing on the time, so he's like dominating over them.
Last thought. Twitter. Do you think Twitter will be relevant a year from now?
Oh gosh, I hope so. So in my industry, so in the marketing research industry, this is a really big deal because there's very few mechanisms to measure kind of overall conversation around things. And Twitter is one of the only social media apps that it's called a full fire hose access. Basically, we can take all of their data and analyze their data. So if they shut off, it's going to cut off a major portion of the industry.
Yeah,
I don't think so at this point. I think it's going to be fine, like so far, but yeah, you never know. Like, I mean, with Musk behind the wheel, you never know.
Yeah.
Because you look at Twitter, right? And from all the things I was reading on Yahoo News, their PR team is gone. A lot of their security engineers are gone. And there's a mass exodus of people from Twitter.
Yeah. But I saw also a couple of board members from Tesla suing Elon Musk because they said that we invested in this company because we want you to be CEO, not CEO of all these other stupid things that you are involved in.
That guy is crazy. What a crazy life. I
He
mean,
is crazy.
That's pretty interesting, right? Like mad genius, mad scientist.
Yeah.
But if you look at him maybe 4 years ago when he was just doing Tesla, he was seen as the Tony Stark of the world, ingenious, coming up with all these different things. In the last year or so, he's become very unlikable as a person.
Yeah, I mean, but that shouldn't be surprising, right? In we've talked about this, the whole cult of celebrity. I mean, basically, there's no one who's going to be able to survive that. There's very few people who, when you have full access to everything they do, that you're just going to say, "Oh, I always like this guy." Nobody's squeaky clean. Look at hey, Giannis is a really good example, right? Did you guys see the stuff on Giannis? Yeah. Everyone loves Giannis, and then here he's like knocking over ladders and like being upset at employees, and suddenly he doesn't look so great anymore.
I was actually really surprised by that because I was watching it on ESPN, and I was like, "Is that what he's doing?" Because I had to watch it a couple of times.
I wouldn't be surprised. Did you see his free throw shooting? He was 3 of 14. And the guy and the commentators, he just kept shooting threes because he didn't want to drive in and get hit. So he had to go to the foul line. And people said, there's 17 seconds on the shot clock. Why are you taking a three for it? He did it 2 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, hey, happy Thanksgiving. I got to head out to some meetings.
All right. It's good to see you guys.